I'm Shotgun Tom Kelly, president of the Pacific Pioneer Broadcasters, Hollywood Media Professionals, and we've been honoring people in the entertainment world since 1966. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our archives, and we're going to show you some of the people that we've honored from the past. Over the years, we at the Pacific Pioneer Broadcasters, Hollywood Media Professionals, have had the pleasure of paying tribute to many talented and beloved broadcasters. Now, during this series, we'll spotlight the amazing actor, comedian, screenwriter, and director Carl Reiner. We were lucky enough to have the assistance of television host Tom Bergeron. So let's sit back and enjoy the conversation between Tom and Carl, and it will become obvious that Carl is a man of many talents.
This is such an honor to be here. First of all, it's great to be back amongst you again, and I look with pride at the award you gave me, which hangs in my office. But it's especially an honor to be here today, because the gentleman who's about to come on this stage was a pioneer before pioneers were even thought of. He was an East Coast pioneer back in the days of Your Show of Shows with Sid Caesar and Imogene Coca. Then he was a West Coast pioneer in the days of the Dick Van Dyke Show, which, though shot here, was set in New York and New Rochelle, which instantly made him a bicoastal pioneer. He is a man of amazing accomplishments. When I visit his home, we move the Emmys out of the way so there's a place to sit. He is a mensch, a lovely man, an icon of comedy, and I'm so proud to call him a friend. Please welcome the one and only Carl Reiner. Where'd they get these seats from? Guantanamo? I mean, really? Here you go.
The first question is to ask with a tie or without a tie. There's a tie there. How many people are out there without a tie? Raise your hand. With a tie? The without a ties have it.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Anyway, I can't tell you how pleased I am to be here because, well, at 92, you're pleased to be anywhere. Anyway, the thing I'm most proud of is that, oh, you know something? I've written 2 books. One is called I Remember Me. It's a memoir. And then I realized after I'd finished it, things kept popping in my head. Every time I walk around the block, a memory would come to me. So I wrote another book called I Just Remembered. And believe it or not, at home I have 100 pages into a new book called What I Had Almost Forgotten. And so what's going to happen here today is I would like to tell you a little bit about my life using this as a template. By the way, in one of these books, I think it's this one, I just remembered, there are 2 wonderful pictures of our friend here, Tom Bergeron, whom I've known a long, 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 long time.
Since I was a fetus almost. Yeah.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I don't know if I wrote about it here, but I'm so pleased that he's here. There's a chapter in this book about him, and I liken him to one of my favorite things in the whole world, a hot dog with sauerkraut. No, yeah, I'm going to tell. Yeah, I'll talk about that because it's interesting. When I was 6 years, I had a date to have lunch with Tom Bergeron, which we do every once in a while when he's in town. And I wasn't feeling well that morning. I was lying in bed, and I said, gee, I don't know if I can go out and eat. I really wasn't feeling well. And I used a test that I had when I was 7 or 8 years old, when I was a kid going to school. I never wanted to miss school. I loved going to school. And I remember lying in bed and not feeling well. And I said, do I feel sick enough not to go to school? And I tested by saying, if my mother walked into the room now and offered me a hot dog on a bun with sauerkraut, could I eat it? If the answer was yes, I'd go to school. If the answer was no, I stayed home. Using that test, I didn't go out with Tom Bergeron. However, the following week, we went out and had a hot dog. Yes, it's...
We did. I could just sit here and listen to you.
I expect you to not sit here.
But I have to just... I don't think I've ever asked you this in all the time we've known each other. Do you remember the first laugh you ever got?
The first laugh I ever got, yes, I was 3 years old. Oh, no, not in the third grade. I was about seven or... I was very, very limber. I could put my feet behind my head and walk around on my hands. And the teacher thought that was so good, and the kids laughed. And it was so good. It was a Christmas holiday, and she took me around to the other classes, and I walked around on my hands. I also could put my foot behind my neck and hop on one leg. The first laugh I ever got. By the way, I noticed you can cross your legs that way.
Yeah, we were, among other things, while we were waiting to come out, we were discussing that we can both do this. We can both get into
yes.
a full lotus.
By the way.
And you still can.
Yes, I was thinking at 92, in my new book that's not here, I have a piece of interesting advice. This is for longevity, for people who want to make their years longer. I say, if you want to feel when you're past your 90s, to make every day seem, to feel longer, I said, go out every day. Have dinner with boring people who talk boringly. Have a boring dinner, boring food, go to boring movies, watch boring TV. The days won't be any longer, but they will seem so much longer. I said, and another thing, I said, now when you're 92, and I said, well, how many more years have I got? I don't know, 2, maybe 2 more, 3, I don't know. And I said, well, instead of counting it in years, instead of years, months, weeks, days, minutes, seconds, I says, think of your life in terms of how many nanoseconds you have left. And I looked it up. I looked up what a nanosecond is, and I put down my life in nanoseconds. It starts with 352 and about 12 zeros or 15 zeros. And I say, you have all of that time to do whatever you want. It's not years, but it's a lot of zeros. Try it. You'll see you'll feel better.
One of the things that whenever I go over and we go out to lunch and all that, there's never been a time that I've gone to Carl's house that he hasn't said, you got to come up, I have to read something to you, that you're working on.
Yes.
You're always working on something. Where does that come from?
I think it's from an ethic, my father's ethic. My father worked all of his life. My father was an inventor. I write a lot about my father. As a matter of fact, he gave me one piece of advice that I give to anybody to give to their children. When you have a problem and you're fussing with it, my father once said to me, don't ever wrestle with a problem. Just step back, look at it. Just look at it. Don't try to don't tear or rip at it, because just look at it. He says the answer will present itself if you just look at it. And I've used that all my life. And I give examples of the moment I said, how do you do that? How do you do it? My father's voice comes into my head, step back, look at it, and I don't forget what they are now, but one simple one comes to my head. I was once, I once wanted to hang a picture in the same place that something else was hanging. And I took the picture down, and I wanted to put a nail in, and the hole was too big for the nail. It was a very big hole. And I said, how do I get a nail that big to go in the hole? And I stepped back, and I said, what would my father do? And that word came to me, toothpicks. He said, take a bunch of toothpicks, put them in the hole, break them off, and fill up the hole with wood. First time I thought of wood lath, but that you can't buy that wood putty. So I thought of the next best thing. It was in my pocket. Stimudents. I took a bunch of stimudents, pushed them in, tapped them in with a little hammer, and had a brand new piece of wood to put a nail in.
Carl's new show will be on Home and Garden Television starting next week.
Thanks for joining us. You know, I can already feel the excitement building for our next Hollywood Media Professional Celebrity Showcase.